Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Joy of Sticks. Stickhead here with your Atari ST gaming channel, and we're doing something a little bit different on the channel today. Today it's my pleasure to bring to you my favourite 5 sound effects on the Atari ST. Now before we dive in, let's have a little look at this beauty. I've got to give a little special mention. It didn't make the top 5, but I just love the sound effects in this game. Not because they're good, because they're ridiculous. I mean, from the Morris Minor door shutting sound of getting kicked in the face to the ridiculous screams that people make when they die. And this fella, this big old fella, and the noises he makes when he's trying to show you the soles of his shoe. I just love the sounds in this game. They are absolutely brilliant. So yeah, special mention to Double Dragon.
Number 5.
And we're starting the countdown with a game that has tons of really cool sound effects, from the firing of the gun. That ricocheting sound it's just really satisfying. The ticking and explosion of the bomb. Even the shuffling as you crawl along the floor. But the one that takes it for me is the death sound. I mean, watch this little fella go. And of course, Rick makes the same sound when you die, and with the game being such a git, you're going to be hearing a lot of this sound as you play the game.
Number 4.
Load Runner is another game where there are tons of really cool sound effects, from the sampled speech that rewards you or chastises you.
You win!
From the swiping sound when you pick something up, or the sound of the laser. They're all great, but the one I really, really like, or the two I probably should say, are the sound of your steps and the sound of you climbing a ladder. For some reason, just really adds to that kind of frenetic feel of the game. You really feel like you're being chased because you can hear these echoing footsteps and shuffles as you make your way around the level. Great stuff.
Number 3.
I can only imagine the fun that Jeff Minter had coming up with the sounds for this game. There are so many great ones. So many great ones. From the almost expletives that are uttered when you die, to the weird implosive noises when you shoot things, to the, I don't even know what the sound is, like the sound of desire when you pick up that heart and the animals rush towards you. There are tons and tons. I mean, the game opening itself, it blasts the ears with sound. But my favourite has to be the Screaming Mandy, inspired by Mandelbrot's. These were amazing mathematical patterns generated by computers that just seemed to be everywhere in the late 80s and early 90s. Jeff put a malicious one in his game, and every time you shoot it, it screams. You see, Jeff's games at this point were obviously heavily inspired by the Williams arcades of the time, you know, the things like Defender and Robotron and things like that, and those just kicked you in the eardrums. There's no way you could walk past one of those machines without looking and wanting to play it, because of the assault on the senses that you got from it, the sounds and the light show that you were getting. and it obviously Jeff tried to put that in this game, and to be honest I think he succeeds, and the Screaming Mandy is just a perfect example of that.
Number 2.
Another game with a ton of excellent sound effects is Flood, from the sampled speech from when you begin a game,
Let's go.
to the explosions and the tink of the grenades, to the weird burpy noises when you pick stuff up and get hurt, to the all-important water noises because of the theme of the game. They're all great, but the most memorable one is when you pick up the most powerful weapon in the game, the flamethrower, and you press the fire button to try and use it, and instead your main character pulls out a rubber chicken instead. Great stuff.
Number 1.
Now, for those of you who've been watching my channel for a little while, it will come as no surprise to you that I've picked IK Plus as the number 1 spot. It is my favourite SD game of all time, but to be fair to me, and my horribly biased choice, it does have excellent sound effects, and they really do add a lot to the gameplay. From the spot effects of like things like the balls when they bounce and hit your shield in the bonus round, the explosions of the bombs in the other bonus round. They're all great, but the real key thing is how much more visceral and physical the game feels thanks to those sound effects when you're fighting your opponents. And I think I'm right in saying that it uses sampled sound effects from a Bruce Lee film, Enter the Dragon, which is why they sound fantastic. And there's one in particular which really cracks me up, and it always seems to happen when you do a flying kick on somebody right at the end of the round. You kind of get this oh sound, which is just ridiculous. It sounds more like a wounded dog than a human, but for some reason it cracks me up every time I hear it. So there you go, there are my top 5 favourite sound effects in Atari ST games. Now, it was ridiculously hard to whittle it down to 5, so I'm sure there are tons of brilliant ones that I've missed. If I've missed off your favourite from the list, tell me in the comments below, okay? I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that video anyway, guys, and thanks for watching. Do take care.